water.
Definitely vodka. I caught that on camera, everyone.
Definitely. I don't know what you're talking about.
She's not of legal age yet.
I'm 21.
I'm kidding. No, you're still
I'm legal in the UK. I've been legal.
You've been legal in the UK, which is scary, but you're still a tiny baby. You're not 21. I refuse to acknowledge.
Well, I'm going to be 22 in 3 months.
I know, which is disgusting.
Kenny's going to be 20.
No.
Yeah?
No, 2 months. It's already February. Okay, we'll round it at the end.
Yeah. I forgot that it's February. January didn't exist to me.
No.
Anyway.
Nothing exists.
Nothing exists.
Nothing exists. Can't talk. But you are the only thing that exists right now in my world, right? So, everybody, ladies and gents, this is Carrie Letelier, my baby cousin, who I refuse to believe is 21, even though I knew that. Hi, Carrie.
Hi. How are you?
Great. How are you? Long time no talk.
Thank you. I know. It's been too long.
Too long. No, we were literally just talking for like a good 20 minutes before I started recording. So, but yeah, no, but she's super busy and she's going to tell us a little bit about her life and what she's been up to, because Corona, unfortunately, has kept us apart for, I think, much longer than we've ever been apart.
Yeah, last year was the first year I hadn't been to the Cape my whole life.
Yeah. And I didn't go to Vegas at all last year.
No.
So we need to figure
I barely went to Vegas last year. So.
True. And we're going to talk about that. So, Carrie, without further ado, give everybody a little bit insight about your life, a little bio about who you are and everything that you want us to know about you.
Well, my name's Carrie. I'm 21. I was born in Las Vegas. No, I wasn't. I was born in Fresno. I'm tired.
Okay.
I'm so tired.
Keep in mind, we were talking about how she's spending like 8+ hours a day on Zoom in school, and now being where she is now, which she'll reveal in a moment, it's many more hours ahead than here. So yes, it is bedtime there. So
it's getting close to my bedtime. No, I was born in Fresno, California, and was raised in Vegas. But I go to university for drama in London at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts, LAMDA for short.
Oh, dramatic.
So dramatic. And that's all that's important about me. So
I think not. I think there's many more important things about you.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, no, not really. The end. Goodbye. Click.
Yeah.
So, well, no, I mean, like, we need to talk about how you were like the muse for Kenny, who I interviewed Kenny, my other baby cousin, in season 1, and Kenny and Carrie are siblings, and Carrie was a big muse for Kenny's early photography works and film
early work.
And you were an actress. You were my mini Taylor Swift. I mean, you were a girl of many, many talents. So don't sell yourself short on this. Come on.
Thank you. I was a part of many, many photo shoots. And I remember you talked about the shoes ad last time. And I believe my feet make a brief entrance in that in a bathtub.
Yes, I just watched those about 3 weeks ago, and I meant to send them to you. They're on my Facebook memories, and I was like, oh my God, I need to send them to Kenny and Carrie and just die laughing about it. So I might have to edit that in, because I think I said that about Kenny's interview, and that never ended up happening. So.
Oh my God. Please do.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, please don't. I'm surprised. Yes. All right.
At this point, the internet's going to find out everything at one point, surely.
Yeah. Yes.
So might as well be proud of
Be proud of your work.
I will be.
So speaking of your work, so I've known you from literally, well, I mean, I've known you your whole life, but literally in like middle school and high school, being on stage, doing musical theater, taking singing lessons, taking guitar lessons, all this stuff, right? And now you're like really fulfilling a massive dream of yours. But tell everybody who does not know you how you got started.
Well, I danced since I was like 3. And I did that until like the age of 10 or 11. And then I remember seeing, surprisingly, Kenny in the like school play musical thing at that they did in middle school. And I was like, that looks amazing. And he was like, I dreaded every second of it being on stage. And I was like, well, let's swap. So
Exactly. You're like, no, I am born for this.
I was born for the spotlight. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so I started doing musical theater when I was 11 in 6th grade in middle school. And then I kept doing that throughout high school. And I auditioned for lots of musical theater schools, didn't get into any of them for university. And then I auditioned for Lambda, which is just straight acting, but also has like music training as well. And that's where so I'm pursuing a little bit more the acting now rather than the musical theater because I found a bit more of a spark with it, if that isn't douchey. Can I say that? I don't know.
Of course you can. I'm like, do you know how many times I swear on here? And even Hayden watches it. Other kids watch. I'm like, F this, F that, F, 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 F. Like an F grade. Don't even worry.
Good.
But we skipped over a very brief little blip in your life of going to school in Utah.
Oh yeah.
Before you went to Lambda, you went to school in Utah. So let's talk about that transition from living in Vegas, going to private school, you know, leaving your bubble, your comfort zone to go to this magical place.
Southern Utah.
Yeah.
Well, I went to SUU, Southern Utah University, for a year. I wasn't don't think I could have mentally done a gap year. Um, I like being busy and I like academia, and I think I would have disintegrated slowly if I had to do a gap year. So I decided instead of waiting another year and auditioning for more schools, I would go to the university in Utah for a year, and it was a very small town. The Utah Shakespeare Festival is there, so there is theater there, which was good, and the school's associated with it, but it's a heavily religious town, and I wasn't into that religion, and it was an eye-opening experience. I thought it was it was a time for growth because it was very isolating, and it made me think a lot of things, and I don't think I would have had the courage to audition for an international school if I hadn't spent a year with my thoughts in the middle of the countryside with like cows next door to me. So yeah.
People might think you're exaggerating, but
I'm not.
We're not. You were absolutely not. No.
It was like the city was like literally this big, and then if you went this way, it was like full on cowboys, polygamists. It was the middle of nowhere, and it was only 3 hours away from Vegas, so it was like it was a massive cultural change for being so close to home.
Yeah.
But
well, especially because you went to Catholic school growing up, you know, so that was a huge shift from, you know, and I don't think like Catholicism defines your entire life, but you were born and raised into a religion and you have an understanding and a faith-based, you know, surrounding one thing. And then you go to an area that's literally 99.9% Mormon.
Yeah.
So when you're sitting there talking about isolation, it's not even just like the fact of the population, it's literally that you're like, I can't relate to these people, because I remember your freshman year roommate got engaged and married, I think after the like before the first semester even ended.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I still have some friends from that school, people who were more open and understanding and willing, and not that Mormonism isn't understanding religion, but it was just very different. And I think I had a lot of ideals that were not aligned with a lot of those people. So it was just, and I'm not very Catholic. I have many opinions on the Catholic Church now that I am an adult and have had time to think about things.
And you can step away from it for a little bit. Yes.
Yeah, and I go to a very artsy school, and I live in a city. But it was just, yeah, it was isolating, and it was a time to reflect that I think I needed. And I'm really glad that I did go there, because I don't think I would be where I am today if I hadn't had that experience. So
I agree, because you did apply to some schools in Boston and upstate New York, and we went on those college tours together.
Oh, yes, we did.
We sure did. A road trip to Ithaca. Well, it was how many hours? 4 or 5? I think 5 hours, and we didn't stop once.
No,
we literally were like, let's just get there. It was beautiful, but it didn't work out, and that's okay, because it wasn't meant to, which is totally fine. Yeah. But that was our first round of like college tours, because you flew in from Vegas. Mm-hmm. We did that fun cousin bonding time. We went to a Panic at the Disco concert.
Oh, what a concert that was.
Right?
It was glorious. It was so good.
Pouring rain. Okay, so let's circle back for a moment, because that's when you were still in high school at this point. Mm-hmm. And you came out that summer, and we did the college tours. I took you to the original Dunkin' Donuts. We have pictures.
A dream.
And then we go to the concert, and it's literally Panic at the Disco and Weezer. And it was about less than 2 weeks after I just got my brand new car. And it is pouring rain out.
Yeah.
We left after Panic at the Disco performed, because Weezer was on next, and we're like, no, we're going. Yeah. We finally get back to the car to realize that Carrie mistakenly had left the window open.
I had forgotten about that until right now, and I am so sorry.
You have PTSD now. You're like, shit, I thought I was away from that.
It's so like me to do something like that as well.
I know, but I forgive you. Don't even worry about it. But you were like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's fine. You didn't die. That's all that matters. But
it's true.
Yeah, no, but we were just like there having a moment, because it's like, even though we have a 15-year difference between us, it's like, I feel like we're peers a lot of time. Yes.
Yeah. So. I always forget that you're like my mom's cousin twice removed or something. I'm like, no, you're like me and Kenny's cousin.
Yes.
Like, no, you're not a part of that side, you're with us. Like
exactly. You're like, you were a first cousin declared, because we're so close. Yes. No, but that's really how it was. I mean, I would go to Vegas at least like once or twice a year, mm-hmm. and come hang out with you guys and spend time with you. And while Mom was out of town doing ballroom dance, I had the opportunity to play Mom for the week, and drive you guys to school, make sure homework is done, always take you to the strip after school. And you're like, Katie Lee, stop it. Like, we only go when you come to town. I've been to plays. I've been to Moms and Muffins, where I played Mom number 2. Yes. You wrote like Mom number 2 on my little invitation or something. So I've definitely watched you grow up and flourish into this beautiful lady before me. You're like, hey. But so we fast forward, we do the college tour, you go to Utah for a year, but then something happens. Mom reaches out to me and says, Katie Lee, we need you, if you're ever so willing, to take Carrie to LA for auditions, because we are going to be out of the country traveling. And I was like, no, I got you. Anytime it involves these kids and traveling, I'm like, it's a wrap. Wow. Like, this is it. So let's talk about that experience, because that brings you to where you are today.
Oh, indeed. Oh boy. So that, I can't even remember what it's called, but it's basically there's this big coalition of universities that go to LA every year to audition high school students for their school. And that was my second time doing that. I did that my first year auditioning as well. But yeah, you just basically audition for as many schools as possible in one weekend and hope for the best. Lambda was slightly before that. I went to UCLA and did my Lambda audition there with my mom took me. But at that one, I did like Royal Welsh. I think I did a tape for what's it called, Drama Center, which are both in the UK, and then I did like 8 American schools as well in that one trip, and that's a wild time. And I didn't hear anything back from Lambda at that time. It was like 4 months later or 3 months later that I got an email saying that I got a second round, which was wild. I got that on a walk home from like an 8 a.m. class in Utah. And it was like snowing and I was like miserable. and then I got an email and I was like this is exciting. And then I had to go to New York and audition for them again. And now I'm here and everything worked out.
It did. So I remember because Boston University was starting up a program. So we sat in on that little info session during
That's how I heard
time.
about Lambda.
Yeah. And so you have been like connecting with these people. So in Ithaca, you already had a connection there. We went to her office and met. You were talking to people, you know, so it's like going through that second round. And, you know, Carrie and I were just talking off camera, but I was like, I literally remember that trip where we had the bags, you know, we just packed little overnight bags and we were in the hotel lobby and she's like, oh my God, I just got a call back. For like, the schools. And I think it was Royal Welsh, actually.
It was.
Say that.
Yeah.
And I was like, girl, go. I'll stay here in the lobby. If we miss the flight, I don't even care. Like we could just drive back to Vegas because it was literally, she drove from Utah Thursday night. We flew out Friday and then we're leaving to go back to Vegas literally Sunday night, and she woke up at like 3 a.m. to drive back to Utah for class on Monday. So it was like the quickest turnaround. But I was like, girl, if we miss our flight, if you have to miss school, like we are here for a reason, do it, you know? So I definitely agree with you. Had you not gone to Utah, I don't feel like you would have had the opportunity to audition again, have the opportunity to go to be where you are now. You've traveled quite a bit for like auditions because you also came to Massachusetts.
Yeah.
You also got stuck in an airport with your mom for like hours.
Yeah. In North Carolina.
Yes.
That was for my Lambda second round. That was the big Northeaster that happened that year. And it was like we were supposed to, it was a similar thing where I was like, I drove from Utah to Vegas just to go to New York for the weekend and then come back for my Monday class in Utah. And I was supposed to just be like Vegas to Dallas, Dallas to JFK. But that didn't happen. We did Vegas to Dallas, and then we got put on like a flight, and then it got canceled, and then another flight, and then it got canceled, and then another flight, and then we were like, you know what, let's just go to the closest airport that we can get to New York, which was North Carolina. And so we went to North Carolina, and then we like tried to get a plane from North Carolina to JFK, and then they were like, all planes to New York are canceled. And we were like, right.
Right.
So we like slept for like 3 or 4 hours in North Carolina. And then like we're on a waiting list for a flight to New Jersey. And then we like got off the waiting list and onto the flight. And so we like got up after like 3 hours of sleep. And went to the airport and got to New Jersey, and then we took a cab from New Jersey to New York. And then we were supposed to get there 2 days before my audition, and we got there 4 hours before my audition.
And didn't you guys lose your luggage?
Yeah, like we got it back the half an hour before we left to come back to Vegas. So we got into New York, and I was like so sleep deprived. I like stank. I hadn't showered in like 48 hours. And we went to the Target that was like across the street from the hotel we were staying at. That we stayed at the hotel literally across the street from Chelsea Studios, which was where I auditioned for Lambda. And so we like ran to the Target. We like got me a top and some like underwear. I just wore the same leggings that I'd been in. And then I like went back, I showered, I slept for maybe 30 minutes. I got up, I don't know why I did this to myself. I still hadn't properly learned the duologue I had to do for the audition. So I got up, learned all the lines for my duologue, and then was like, right, time to go. And then I like went downstairs and went across the street and then did my audition with like, I think being sleep deprived was the best thing that could have happened though, because again, it's just like I didn't have time to think.
You just did it.
I just did it. And they were like, if they gave me something to do, normally I'd be like, if they give me a direction, I'd be like trying to overthink it because that's classic me. But they were just like, be more flirty with this guy. And I was like, you've got it. And I just like sat on him. And I was just like, did the scene like on top of him. And
in your like, stinky leggings.
In my stinky leggings, sitting on this like 50-year-old man's lap, doing a scene from A Doll's House. And I was just like, I don't know what my life is anymore, but this I guess is it. So I just like did my audition. And I was like, I think that went okay. And then I just left and I went back to the hotel and I just slept. And then we had tickets to see a show. We saw that show and then the next morning we left. And it was
and look, nailed it.
And now I'm here. I don't know why and I don't know how I got here, but I am here.
Well, I think not only the fact that you played like a sugar baby to that 50-year-old man, but I mean, you're like, gross. I never want to do that.
Gross, but it's what the character needed to do.
So. Exactly. So you got to like really play to that role. I think just talking about the fact that you went to school, that was not your favorite choice. How you've traveled literally from coast to coast and what it has taken for you to get there and that determination. People that really wouldn't want that wouldn't go through such great lengths to do that. So I think you got there because you were determined and because you're talented. That's why you're there. Welcome. So you're like, I don't know how I got here. I'm like, come on. Come on now. So you've had 3 years? Well, we're wrapping up the full year. I cannot talk. And you're ready to graduate in just a few short months. And you've had a lot of projects that you've done while you're there. Have you had like a favorite play or film or character that you've played that you're like, this was like my all-time favorite while being here?
There's a few that I've really loved. We were talking earlier about the Shakespeare we just did, which was the rehearsal time got cut by more than half. And like, we had to do that in like 3 weeks and it was crazy, but I really loved that character. It was Bolingbroke in Richard II. And he's like described as this massive, manly dude who's like a warlord, and he just like he's just like the most skilled fighter in all of England, and like he like gathers all these troops and like gets all these people to follow him, and then he insurrects the king and like becomes the king at the end, and then he just crashes down at the end when he finds out the king's his cousin. And when he finds out his king has been murdered by one of his followers, and he's like, I didn't want that to happen. I still love him. He's still my cousin. And that was amazing, because it's so rare to have, especially as a woman in the theater industry, to have such a meaty role, and like a role that is 100% not my casting type. I am not a massive warlord man. Like, very clearly I'm quite a feminine lady. So like that just for what the school was asking of me, and and there was only 3, there was a cast of 15, there was only 3 women in the production.
Wow.
Yeah, and so the other 2 women played, one of them played the queen and the other one played the duchess, and then I was a man. And so just the fact that the school trusted me enough and was like, you can do this. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, I can.
I was like, I'll try.
And you proved it to them. And so I just want to say that your insurrection is the only insurrection I stand for. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Because I'm like,
thank you. It's the only storming of the Capitol that we are here for in this time.
What is the news like over there right now, with just like the whole transition between like the election to transition of like the president? Like, what is the news? Because Boris Johnson is like a whole trip without a
He's
suit.
another can of worms himself. But, you know, it's just like waking up to the fact that like the Capitol has been stormed. Like, that sounds like, I'm losing my voice. That sounds like something that would happen like Star Wars. Like, it doesn't like, it doesn't sound like a real thing that should be happening. It's just like, oh, I don't know. It's this weird thing that I've had to deal with while being over here, where it's like this shame of shame of being American, which I'm slowly getting over now that we've corrected ourselves a little bit. But it's just like such a joke. It's just like people be like, what is your country doing? And I'm like, I don't know.
This does not represent me.
I was like, I clearly chose to leave this country. Like, I am no longer there. Like, don't ask me. It's just like, I don't know. I think a lot of it is just like people being like, huh? Like, what is happening?
Every day it's
like, okay.
More America. And more. Yeah, more and more unbelievable. So it's like, for you being an American and being born and raised over here, to now like witnessing like crazy news stories each and every day while you're not even at home, you're probably like, oh, thank God I'm over here. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing being not like a foreigner, sounds weird, but a foreigner in another country, watching your country implode from afar. It's a it's a weird feeling. And just, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people expect Americans to know everything that's going on in America, and it's just like, sometimes I'm like, I haven't had time to catch up.
Right.
Like,
right.
Like, people be like, did you hear this happen? I'm like, no, I hadn't. I hadn't checked the news yet today.
You're like, I've been on Zoom for 8 hours today in class.
I'm so glad to hear that that's happened. But yeah, it's weird. But then it's also like, I would like to stay in this country, and then also hearing the news that's coming from this country and just being like, okay, yeah, cool. Yeah. So it's like, I'm trying to juggle 2 news cycles at the same time. It's just like overload on my brain sometimes. Like, oh my God, just like, can everyone just like stop for a day and just
just take a nap. Yeah.
Just take a nap. I think we all need it. I really think Boris Johnson needs a nap.
Oh,
Like
a permanent one.
a big don't you didn't hear it from me. But like, yeah, I think everyone just needs to chill out for a hot second.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just for everyone's sake.
I agree. I totally agree. You were like, can we be single for a while? Just focus on ourselves. Do we
Yeah.
really need to like be in a relationship with this person for the
Yeah.
next 4 years or whatever? Now, speaking of, because you just said that you would love to stay in the UK,
Yeah.
graduation is looming. It's like a carrot dangling. It's like 5 months away, right?
Yeah, it's in July.
Yeah. So what is your plan? Are you going to stay there? Are
That
you going to come?
is such a good question. And I would love the government to let me know what my plan is.
Am I getting kicked out or can I stay?
Honestly, because there's this, it is such a time to be graduating. But there's this new law coming into play, hopefully, called the Graduate Immigration Scheme, which basically allows any graduate to apply and then stay in the country for 2 years to try and get work, which has never been available before. You either had to be, if you wanted to stay, you had to be like an EU citizen, which is not the case anymore.
Right.
But before, you either had to be an EU citizen, or you had to have a parent from the UK in order to stay. Otherwise, it was like, or get a job,
Right.
or like immediately get a job
And get sponsored, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's the whole thing. If you want to stay, you have to have a sponsor. Otherwise, they're like, we loved educating you. Goodbye. Which is, it's like, I think it's crazy to let somebody come and be educated in your country and then not be able to use that education if they want to, because it's just like they're gonna add to your work for anyway. But like, it's like you've let them live their adult life, you've let them start to build something, and then you're like, deuces.
Yeah, kick them out. Yep.
But that's hopefully the graduate immigration scheme is hopefully going to apply to the graduates of 2021, which I am.
You're like, so, yeah.
Hopefully that will come through, because because of Brexit, they're rejigging immigration law at the moment, so they can't announce anything because this plan has been in the works since 2019.
Okay.
But because of Brexit, they've not been able to make any certain statement about it. But because they've accepted a deal and Brexit is a go, they're now allowed to start rejigging immigration law. So hopefully that means I'll be able to stay. I'm also looking at, there's another visa. I don't know. Basically, if I want to stay, I have to get a visa and prove that I'm talented enough to have a visa, which is like, it's difficult to do when you're an actor and you're just like, do you think I'm good?
But, right. You have to do another audition. You're like, here's the short
and you have to get endorsements, and you have to like.
I endorse you.
Thank you.
I totally endorse you. Yeah.
If you were a legal body, I would take you up on that. But alas, you were not a company.
Damn it. I thought it was good for something. So yeah. Worst case scenario, if you do have to come back to the States, like, do you have kind of like a plan in your head, like a tentative plan of what you want to do? Or you just
don't. And I need to get on that because, as you say, graduation is looming. And hopefully it would be one of the big three, like Boston, New York, LA. I don't really know anyone in America anymore, which is like, other than my family. So like, that's weird for me to try and deal with. But like, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll get representation over here and still be able to audition for stuff over here, even if I do have to go back to the States. But yeah, so that's the plan-ish.
Ish.
But ish.
Ish. That's a
It's what Boris
Haydenism.
decides to do.
Yep. Yep. Hayden is always like, I'm like, how you feeling? Ish. Is your room cleaned?
Oh, I feel
Ish.
you.
It's
Ish.
a
My room is always ish. It's always clean ish. So I understand Hayden.
Yep. I'm like, hey, give it to me honestly. That means
Yeah.
no. Every time she says the ish, I'm like, all right, it's all right, girl. Well,
Yeah.
that's so exciting. I mean, you always have a place to stay here in Boston with me. So that's not even like a question that you have to like think about. But yeah, I'm so curious and excited to see your growth, like personally, professionally, where you end up. Like,
Me too.
because it's been crazy. I mean, you've literally gone from spending your time there to really exploring the city that you're living in and getting to meet new friends and
Yeah.
doing all these classes to literally now being holed up doing your classes in such a very different way. I mean,
Yeah.
because you rely on others to make a production come to life and the team and the partnership, and now you're doing it via Zoom.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you get the chemistry of the character, your counterpart? Like, it's a whole different level. And if
Yeah.
this teaches you nothing else from your acting career, I'm like, this is like the pinnacle of like learning how to navigate in uncertain times.
It really is. And it's like they tell us all the time, because I'm really interested in screen. I would love to go into film and TV. It's a world that intrigues me greatly. And I love the fact that they edit out all the bad bits. um, but they're always saying it's like you have to be able to find the truth of a character. This is about to sound so wanky, but you have to find the truth of a character in extraordinary circumstances when there's a camera this close to your face and your scene partner might not even be there. You might be talking to a dot on a wall, or like I was saying, we were just in a Zoom call with Richard Armitage, which was very fun, very famous Lambda alum. But he was like, and it's like, this is the time to really build your imagination, because you're there, you might be in a situation where you're in a green screen and there's nothing there, and you have to imagine that you're floating through space and fighting bad guys, and that's just like, you're gonna have to do that. And so yeah, trying to connect to someone through Zoom and like have as much chemistry and build a world as you would in real life it's, if nothing else, it is an incredible learning experience, which I'm trying to take.
You got this bird is, I'm sorry. I keep like looking over. This bird is on my terrace and it literally just like fluttered all about on my, I don't know if you heard it, like on the slider. I'm like, chill, bro. I'm in the middle of a fucking interview. Like, so rude. God, like you're cute, but like you're not coming in. Like this is a one-on-one interview, sir. Like fly
no
away.
paparazzi.
Yes, exactly. Speaking of paparazzi, did you see that they finally launched Lady Gaga's Oreos?
I did, and I saw it from your Instagram story. Didn't know this was a thing, but of course you did, and of course it's on your Instagram story.
Yes. So I'm actually waiting because my BFF, she went and picked some up, so I didn't even have to go shopping, and she is shipping them to me, so they should be coming.
A flavor?
It's kind of like the golden Oreos. That's what she told me that the flavor is, because she went and bought like, I think like 8 packages the first round, and then went back later that day and bought another 10. So she's like, oh, my niece is getting one, my sister's getting one, you're getting a couple.
Incredible.
So I didn't even have to go out because people are going to try to resell them and go crazy. But it's hysterical. And I wasn't exactly sure on the launch date. So I had been begging my mom for the last like couple months. I was like, they need to be under the Christmas tree, Mom. That's all that's going to make my Christmas. But they just officially launched. So I'm excited to, we'll have to do a review or something.
Yes, you'll have to watch, you have to rewatch the national anthem and eat your Lady Gaga.
Yes. And I'll have a big Dove pin of some sort.
Yeah.
Yes, bigger than my head. But no, I mean, Carrie's known my obsession for Lady Gaga literally since she came out in 2009.
It's
Um,
true.
yeah, we've
Immediate
been,
fan.
yeah,
That's what you were.
exactly. Yes, like obsession. We went to Madame Tussauds on the
Yeah,
strip
we
and they
did.
have the Lady Gaga wax figure there
I
and
remember listening to Paparazzi for the first time in your car and being like, hold on, this is a bop. Like, let's put this on repeat.
you're like, let's do it with your spy sunglasses in the back seat.
I wish I still had those. I still dream about being a spy one day. Maybe I will. Maybe in a movie, I'll be able to be a spy.
Ooh, which I was
It's
going to
a dream.
ask you. So that's a perfect transition. If you were to get like a dream role, who would you want to play? Like, is there a character that you want to like create and make up? Is there a movie that you want to reprise that you're like, oh, I definitely want to be that
Ooh,
character?
that is a good question.
I didn't prepare you for that one.
No, you didn't, and now I'm on the spot. Um, I don't know. I am a big fan of quite like everything I'm realizing how I talk and it sounds like so douchey drama school. But I guess that's what I am now. So I'm
I
gonna
like it. I mean, it's really adorable.
but I don't know. I like really like quiet dramas where it's just like following following one person and it's just a few characters and it's just like how they're dealing with a moment in their life. I really like stuff like that. There's this movie that I'm not sure if it's just come out called, let me get this right, Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. And I just read the script for that and it's 80 pages. It's really short and it's following this 16-year-old who's it's quite dark, but she's trying to get an abortion and it's illegal for her to get an abortion in Pennsylvania without parents' permission. So her and her cousin go to New York to try and get one. And it's just like I like things like that talk about things that people are afraid to talk about, but that really should be talked about. And I like when they make young people complex because young people are complex. And I feel like a lot of the times they make teenagers very bland and one note, or they're like CW teenagers. And not that they're not amazing because I will watch Vampire Diaries any day of the week. But like, or they're just like, I love him, I don't love him, I love him, I don't love him. And
Right,
it's
but
just
there's so many other things besides just love.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's or it's love between family members, which is what this is about, and it's beautiful, and it's just these two cousins trying to deal with the hardest thing that they've had to deal with thus far. So it's like I would love to be in something like that just I don't know, makes you feel things. I like things that make people feel things. Yeah. That's my answer.
No, and I love it, and I love it, I love it, I love it because my question is, would you play a female role? Because every role that you have played thus far
Has been male.
been male. So
A lot
literally,
of them have.
I remember you dressing up in like a suit with a little mustache and or like in a
Oh yeah.
wig. I mean, like since you were little
Oh
for
yeah.
every role that you have done. So it's like I really want you to flourish in the female role. But do you
I
think
would love to be a female. I would
yes?
love I would love it. I mean, coming to Lambda has given me the opportunity to be women, which is great. But also I've found a love for playing male roles. I think I was when we were talking before, there's a lot of the time a lack of depth for female roles, especially in like Shakespeare's more classical pieces. And so playing the male role is much more fun. So like at this point, I'm like, you know what? If it means that I can have a journey, I will. If it means donning a mustache, I will don a mustache. Luckily, I didn't have to don a mustache for the last thing that I did. I was a woman, but it was ambiguous whether I was female or male. I was just a person.
Right. So it's like you could have had facial hair or not, and we could go either way, and that's
We could go either way.
Yep.
But hopefully I will be women in the future because women are great and I would like to be one.
Yes. Caroline, hopefully. That's going to be your new name.
Oh my God. First album.
Yeah.
Caroline, hopefully. Letelier.
Love it.
For those of you unaware, my middle name is Hope.
Well, and if you ever travel with her on her ticket, it will say Caroline Ho.
Yeah.
So she was my little hoe at
pride.
Yes. She was my little hoe at like age 18. I was like, Caroline Ho? What?
Caroline Ho has been around since I was born. My first ticket said Caroline Ho. I was like, not even one. And my parents were like, right.
Right. Noted. Yep. Oh my goodness. I am obsessed. So I need to see you soon.
Yes, please.
I don't think Hayden and I are going to make it to London before you graduate, unfortunately.
I roll. Hopefully I'll still be here and you can come after the whole pandemic has ended.
Yeah.
Hopefully be soon. We love a vaccine. Oh.
I know. This has been a plan for years in the making now. We're like, and Hayden's like, you're not going without me, Auntie. So of course.
What are cousins for if not to visit abroad? I mean, you milked it with Kenny. You haven't been able to use me yet.
No.
And I want to be used.
Well, used you shall be one day.
Thank you.
One day. I know. Oh. I'm like, we got to get there. But, this pandemic just threw this whole wrench into our plans. And I'm just like, go away. We are tired of you.
We're tired. It's been almost a year. Mm-hmm. Like, we get it. We get it, Corona.
We're over it. This is a role we don't ever want to play again.
No. Sad girl in room on Zoom meeting 3. That's what I feel like all the time.
For each term. And are you third or fourth term now since the pandemic started?
Ooh, well, it started at the end of my second year, which was this will be my, I can't do math. This will be my 3rd term going into my 4th term because it was the last term of my 2nd year, the 1st term of my 3rd year, this term, and then maybe a bit of next term, but hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Knock on wood.
Right. Yeah, knock on wood, honestly.
Yeah. I just had another question for you. Now I just blanked. But of course, it was like something silly. So I'm like, shit. Now
I love the silly questions. They're my favorite ones.
Well, okay. So I'll like kind of turn it over to you instead of like me just asking you these questions and responding, but like kind of open the floor, if you will.
Oh.
But like tell some like funny stories about experiences that we've had, or you can ask me questions now, or we can, I'm like, now it's time to like flip the interview.
Hell. I don't know if Kenny asked you this. I can't remember. But what's your favorite? I'm sure you've had some crazies over the year at various jobs that you've worked at. Since you worked in the luxury industry, there's crazies all around. I've realized that the richer you get, the more insane you're allowed to be.
Yes.
Yes.
Allowed.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's your favorite / what's the craziest experience you've had with, it could be a customer or it could be just be a rando that like decided to come in?
Oh, well, I would say, okay, so I'm going to actually throw it all the way back to when I worked at J. Crew.
We love to see it.
Yes. You're like, let me get my popcorn bowl now. So there was this woman that came in and she would obsessively shop. I mean, I would see her in there all the time
Mhm.
and she would buy stuff. Would never see her wear it ever. Like she always had like the same outfit on and she would just constantly like buy, like okay, whatever. We all kind of knew she was a little bit different, but we're like, hey, thank you for making sales. Like we appreciate it, right?
I appreciate the commission.
Yes. Well, I didn't even make commission at that time. So it was literally just like the store goal. So I was like, you know what? Thank you for helping us with that. And one day, Carrie, she came in, like, I shit you not, with like probably like 5 like massive shopping bags worth of stuff
Oh God.
and was like, my therapist told me that I have to return all of this. I
Oh no.
Yeah, and this is like literally stuff that has been purchased like within a year. Like it's not like it just like came about like she bought it last week. Like we're talking like months out.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, like fair enough. So I had to like reason with her because I was like, how do I, being a manager on this team right now, navigate saving the sales for the store while accommodating this customer?
Right.
So I was like, all right, enter name. But I was like, okay, I'm going to strike a deal with you.
Excellent.
She was like, okay. She was all interested. And I was like, if any of these items are on sale right now, I will price adjust and give you the sale price, and you're allowed to keep the piece.
Oh God.
If any of these are full price, I will let you gladly return them, because I was like, the time period has like gone all over. I spent a full 2 hours standing at that register, returning, price adjusting, all this stuff just to save the store sales and to accommodate this client. Like, I'm not even lying. It was like over hours of like going through and physically inspecting everything for tags and checking and doing all this stuff. And I was just like, okay. She came back and after she was like taking, like
Right.
grabbing her things to go of the bags that were, of the items that she was keeping, she was like, thank you so much, Katie, and hands me a stuffed animal teddy bear from Restoration Hardware as a thank you.
Oh
That
no.
that she must have gotten from her car, because there is no Restoration Hardware on Cape
Excellent.
Cod.
Ooh.
So at this point, she probably just had it in her car, and that was my thank you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and then they were pretty strict about it, but I was like, thank you so much. I actually like can't keep this technically because we're not able to accept gifts from customers.
Sure.
But I was like, unless it's something I can share with the entire team. So then the teddy bear then lived in the break room at J. Crew, because I was then sharing it with everybody. So I wasn't breaking any, policies or procedures on gifting from clients. So yeah, I mean, that was like kind of just trying to like accommodate and navigate somebody that has an issue.
Yeah.
Right? I've also had people scream at me and like literally threaten to like throw things, because like when I worked at Coach, because she bought something at the outlet like years ago and wanted to return it or repair it or something of that, which we didn't have the capacity to do so.
Sure.
She got so mad, and she's literally, it was a wristlet, and she's like holding it in her face, like above her head, like near her face, like, and I'm like about 8 feet away from her, and she was literally going to like chuck it at me because we couldn't help her for like, I've had other people scream at me and like leave their items in the store because they've like worn them and we won't return them.
What's the point? Just like sell it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
like I don't know if Depop was a thing or like the real, like the like luxury consignment online thing, but just like
Yep.
sell it. If like they're not gonna take it back, just sell it. You don't need to be like an absolute butthead.
Asshole. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. I did just think of one more story actually. So this is also somebody that has a mental illness that I'm always like keen to it and try to accommodate and never
Mhm.
want somebody to like feel less than
Of
or
course.
whatever because of a condition that they
Of
have.
course. Yeah.
So this gentleman comes into the store. This was about 2 years ago.
Mm.
And one of my colleagues had a client that she was assisting, and he was sitting on the couch, and my
Mhm.
colleague was with him. And this gentleman walks in, and our security guard let him in, and all this stuff. And we're busy talking to him, and he starts searching around and looking for jewelry and telling me he wants to get a ring for his girlfriend or his wife or whoever. And then goes into great detail about how his son, who is, I want to say like 8, maybe,
Mhm.
kept making like fake phone calls to the police, streaking down the street like totally naked, doing all of this stuff at school, talking about perverted things at school. And this gentleman is like, clearly was unwell. And I'm shocked
Mhm.
that he actually had custody of this child.
Mhm.
But he then is telling me his whole life story and about how his wife or his girlfriend, who was the mother, couldn't really take care of the child because she was disabled, and going on and on and on. And then, and that's not even like a weird part because I'm always here to like listen to people and talk and
Mhm.
do whatever. He then asks me to come over to his house to have an intervention with his son so his son doesn't get arrested at 8 years
Oh
old and
my
gets taken
God.
away from him.
Yeah, that's not your job.
I was like, that's a little bit above my pay grade and my
Yeah.
responsibilities here, and I'm going to have to politely decline. And it's literally like, how do you nicely say to somebody, it's your time to leave now,
Yeah.
and go. So that was definitely interesting. So I've had like weird people come in, definitely come and use us for like fragrance samples or to do, certain things like
Yeah.
that. I've had theft that I've had to chase people down, into the next
Hell.
store. And like, it's just, being in retail for what, 16 years now, I definitely have stories.
You can be the worst of people in retail. It's like
Yeah,
retail and food.
yes,
Like
yes,
the like it wasn't even that long. The 3 months I worked in food, I was like, ooh. I
yeah.
was like, this is a time.
Yes, well, because you were also working on the Cape in a
Yeah.
touristy area in the height of summertime. So
Yeah, I was in
that's
two
not even,
places.
yes, that wasn't even like it was locals. It's
No.
literally tourists that are super entitled coming there thinking that you owe them something. That's what, yeah.
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 So you get it, you understand, and hopefully we'll never have to be in those roles again, that we have to like
Hopefully.
deal with
I have
the
a feeling that I might need to be a barista for a bit after university to like pay the bills, but like,
understandable. Well, you got to start
but hopefully not for
somewhere.
long.
Yes. Yes. And then you're going to strike it big. So in terms of representation, like how do you get yourself out there though? Like, do you have to just like audition? Do they come to you? Like, what is the whole, you know, process and going through all of this? Because it's like you are ready to like spread your wings and be an adult now. And you're like, shit, am I going to pay the bills with an acting gig, or am I going to pay the bills like making
Right.
macchiatos right now?
Yeah. It I'm in a very lucky position going to the school that I go to. It's a very well respected acting school, and we've we have a lot of industry connections, and industry want to come and see us because they know that the people that go to the school have had a certain training and will be, not to sound up myself, but be of like a certain caliber. Like they like there's a certain like league of drama school that is very very fortunate because they've made a name for themselves because they've had alumni that are incredibly famous. Like, so I'm very lucky that like agents and casting directors will come and see my shows. And we do a showcase. We're not sure when the showcase will be this year because of Corona. But hopefully it'll be in April. And loads of casting directors and agents will come and see that, which is really, really nice. And like the industry in the UK is really welcoming and they want new talent. Whereas I don't know, because obviously I've not been in the States for a while, but like I've heard that the States prefer to do don't contact us, we'll contact you for a lot of things, which is fair. The market in the States is massive in comparison to the UK. But like over here you can contact agents and they will talk to you, and like there's lots of programs as well. Like I just did a meeting with a casting director through this website called Spotlight, which is like the main way of getting cast in the UK, and they like were just giving away in like meetings with people for free, and I just happened to get one. Yeah, and it's like there's programs like that happening all the time for graduating students, which is really, really nice. And they want you to do well because they want the industry to do well, which is like really reassuring. So like hopefully I'll get something from an agent or a casting director this year before I graduate, but if not, I'm on Spotlight and they can see me and I can put myself up because I'm on It's like Spotlight is this website where you either have to go to a drama school or have done a certain amount of paid work to get onto. Okay. And it's where like everyone posts jobs coming up in the acting world of the UK and the US. There's American jobs on there as well. And you can put yourself up for roles on there as well. So like even if I don't get an agent at the end of this year, like I still have a venue to like be seen, which is really nice. And like I only have that because I go to the drama school I go to. So I'm in a fairly good position. It's different because of COVID. They're not seeing us as much. Which is a shame, but hopefully like people watch the live streams and like they'll watch the live stream of the showcase and hopefully interest will come from there. But that's the main way. And also just writing a lot of emails. I've written a lot of emails.
Please stop me. Please hire me.
I am like so many emails to agents and casting directors where I'm like, I really admire you. Please like me and see my show.
Yes.
I adore you forever.
And you never know who's watching.
It's true. You don't know, like, even if like people that you didn't email have watched the show, they might find an interest in you, or they might someone might tell someone about you, which that's just kind of how this industry works. I've come to realize it's just about knowing people, which is what it is. But yeah.
So when should I expect you on my screen?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I don't know. Hopefully my next show will be live streamed.
Okay.
And I'll be able to send it to you because like copyright law, some we can send, some we can't.
Understandable. So let's
manifest our short film. Hopefully you'll be able to see our short film.
Okay.
That would be good.
Is it Finest Bionics?
I wish. I wish. Unfortunately, no.
Shit, then I don't want to watch it. No,
they should have known. God. They have the feet for it. Yes. But
that have grown just a little bit, but they have the feet
just a little bit. Not much though. I still have tiny baby feet, but and tiny baby hands. Not as baby as yours and Kenny's, but within the league.
Yes. Yes. Well, that's because we're all related, so we're in good company.
Tiny jeans.
Yes. Yes.
But hopefully my short film will be out in June, and I'm in a group with 4 lovely boys. So yeah, that'll be good.
That's amazing. So is there any place that we can find you right now? I want you to drop your social handles if you would like to. If you have like a YouTube channel, like where can people find and kind of like see your progression from past works and current and future works?
Well, my Instagram, I will look up because I currently can't remember what I'm actually called on Instagram.
I can look it up for you.
I am Carrie Lette on Instagram if you want to give me a follow. I don't post much. There's not much going on right now.
He hasn't posted since August 18th. That is rude. I need you to post something.
It's because I can't. The thing is, I can't follow up that photo yet. Because
it was badass.
Because it was badass and Kenny took it and I look like
that.
Cool. And like, that's a good photo of me. And I've not taken a good photo of me since then. So.
Girl, Snapchat filters. I was like, when I saw this, I'm like, who the fuck is this human that is my baby cousin that grew up before my eyes? Because I was just like, what a baddie. Like, damn.
What a baddie. She's not always like that, but she can be like that.
You know, yeah, but I'm like, that's like what makeup and filters are good for.
Yep.
And yeah, hold on, I'm gonna YouTube your name. Okay, yeah, I never subscribed to you. That's so awful. I just did.
It's fine. I've not posted on there since coming
2
to
years
Lambda.
ago.
Yeah. Because Lambda for the first 2 years is 9 hours a day, 5 days a week. So I've not had the time. But I probably should get back on that game.
I think so.
I may have written a few songs since then, so.
Yeah. And if you're able to like upload any acting clips, I'm like, we got to put you out to the universe that agents are going to find you because they're just Googling you and it brings you directly to your YouTube, you know?
Yeah, it's true. I do need to put some new work on there, even if it's just like covers, just as an update, because I've changed quite a lot in the past 2 years.
I would say so. Yeah. I would say so. Now, all right, one last question. So you are just Carrie Letelier. Sorry, I didn't even answer that. I just Googled your name and it brought me right to that. And I think that's what your name is on here. Yeah.
I think, Carrie Letelier or Carrie Lette.
Yes.
L-E-E.
Yes. So you guys can go gracefully stalk my cousin, but not like too much, because then I'm like, she has a boyfriend, so like back off. Okay. So, all right, so we're gonna wrap up. Tell me one of your like most memorable moments of you and I, like during our traveling or when I was in Vegas, like something that really sticks out.
I mean, the first thing it's such a random memory, but the first thing that comes to mind is when you took me and Mariah to the gondolas, and we had both we were talking about the scarves we've knitted with our fingers. And that picture lives in my brain rent-free every day. They're like so tiny and they're so shit, but we were so proud of them. And I just remember
so proud.
And you bought us shirts,
the red and white striped,
from Venetian, and we were like, felt like true baddies, and we were like, but I had full braces and like greasy forehead, and like it wasn't a look, but it was my look.
It was your look, and you really like just took it in and embraced it. Yes,
I embraced my looks throughout the years. I shouldn't have, as we had discussed. But
no, I think you should have. And you know why? Because I think that you had the confidence, and like you weren't like comparing yourself to others or making yourself feel bad about yourself. You were like, nope, this is me. This is how I'm going to roll. This is my style. This is my aesthetic. This is, this is who I am. You were unapologetic, girl.
I was.
That's what I appreciate.
I've come into my style more now, but
you match.
I match now. I match. I figured out what matching is, guys. No more plaid on plaid on plaid. That's too matchy.
Yes. Well, it was also different plaids too.
It was different plaids, but also stripes and also berets. It was, I'm not surprised that I went into acting with the way that I dressed.
Right.
Like it seems right.
It does. It is the right fit for you. Although I want to bring it back really quickly before we wrap this up. And then I'm going to talk about one of my most memorable times with you. But if you knew Carrie and how academic she is, like she mentioned loving the world of academia.
I do.
This girl literally took AP classes for fun.
Yeah, I did.
Like didn't need to. Like in her senior year was like, Katie, I'm so stressed because of school. I'm actually losing my hair, but I love school. So I'll be bald for it.
I will be bald. Yeah. The hair's grown back, but the hair loss was a thing.
It was a huge thing. Not like really like that you were bald.
It wasn't like noticeable, but it was like my hair was like this thin. Like it could like barely be in a ponytail holder.
Yes. Yeah. So being such a good student and just overall really good, innocent, wholesome human being. I took Kenny and Carrie to the Titanic exhibit.
I remember you talking about this.
Yes. Did I say this one too?
Yeah. Yes. Well, you talked about going. I don't know what story you're about to tell, but you talked about going.
Well, because you were such a good egg and you never like went against the grain growing up. Caroline Hope got so bullshit at me because it said no photographs. And I low-key snuck a picture of like one of the rooms like this with my camera at this point, because it was like, 2009, 2010, something early like that. So it wasn't like really cell phone picture, phone capabilities had that. She was so mad at me that I went against like the direction of not being able to take photos. So if that just
follower.
You are. So that's why I just want people to know like how good you are.
Always have been.
You always have been. I would pick her up from school and she's literally like whipping out her notebook out of her backpack like as we're driving the 10, 15 minutes back home, and she's already started working on her homework. Where Kenny what'd you say?
I'm on the grind constantly.
You are. And I'm like, Kenny, you have to do your homework. Carrie was like, I'm already done with it, I'm like, you're such a good egg.
I'm just a nerd. I just liked. The thing is, I like being right. That's like a personality trait that I have. I like knowing things that other people don't. It's a bad trait, but it's a trait that I have. And so like school, I was like, I can be right all the time if I do the work. And then no one can say anything to me.
Exactly. And look at where you are now. Super accomplished.
Doing absolutely no academic work at all.
Because you squeezed all of it in like from kindergarten to 12th grade.
Yeah, that's really true.
Yeah.
I have nothing left in me.
No, you have mastered the entire world of academia.
Correct. I am the smartest person alive. Studies have shown. And so I went, you know what? Other people need a chance to shine. I'll step back.
Yes. And that's why you're like, I will retire.
I will retire and I will become an actor. And you know what? You get your Nobel Prize.
Yes.
I'll be in the back trying to act.
Well, I think also the thing is, it's like, even though you retired from that role, they have to surpass you and nobody has done so yet.
Correct.
So you actually still hold that title.
Correct. Thank you for calling this interview. This is a challenge. I'm now putting out a challenge. Someone to be better than me. Like it's boring at the top.
I'll wait.
So I'd like some company.
Yeah. What should we hashtag this challenge?
Hashtag be better. That's it.
I like that better than
I
Melania
hope
Trump's.
this is never taken out of context because this is like the worst I've ever sounded. I sound like an absolute dickhead. Like I sound like a horrible person.
No, not at all. But I was gonna say I love your be better, way better than Melania Trump's be best. I'm like,
it's not grammatically correct.
exactly. Well, I mean, look at the education level of the family that she married into. I'm not even going to use the fact that she knows multiple languages as an excuse for that. You know what I mean? I'm like, because everybody has, you know, different ways of speaking. I can't knock her because she is talented in the fact that she knows like multiple languages. However, be best. Where was her PR team? Where was her press secretary?
Where was the PR team the whole time? I don't know if there was one.
No.
I just like that now I turn on the news. And the news is that there's dogs in the White House. Like, that's amazing.
Yes.
Like, there's 2 like German shepherds, and that's the news of the day. Amazing. You're like that every day.
Yes, you're like faith has been restored in Washington, D.C.
It has. We have dogs again.
Yes.
That's all.
In Rescue Dog, I think. Was it Champ or Major? I think Major. I don't know.
We love to see it.
I'm not even a dog fan, but I'm happy. You know I'm not a dog fan. You know I'm scared.
But they recently have become my everything, and I want a dog more than anything else in this world. I want a small dog or a medium-sized dog. I love a pug. And that's all I have to say.
Maybe we'll ask your parents for this beautiful gift for graduation.
I mean, I would love that, but both of my parents are like, you are not financially responsible to take care of a dog. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Doesn't mean I don't want one.
Right. We're going to work on that.
We'll work on
After your first major role, take that paycheck.
And adopt a beautiful dog and buy it every treat in the world.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yes. I love this. Your whole vibe. I love you, Carrie.
I love you.
I'm going to let you go so you can go to sleep because it's been the world's longest day. Yes. But come back soon. Come back after graduation so we can do our follow-up interview.
Yes. And I'll let you know if I got anything.
My phone is
interest.
Always on me, available for FaceTime, Snapchat, texting, and DMs. All the time. Kenny, Carrie, and I have our own little meme team group on Instagram that we just DM each other. So that's how I know that Carrie is alive in London and Kenny is alive in Vegas.
I sent you the gritty meme, right? The hockey thing where he throws the cake in the guy's face.
Yes, you did.
I watched that like 12 times before I signed on to the Zoom call. I hope you know it makes me cry laughing. I don't know why. It's so stupid, but it's just the way that he like shakes his belly. Anyway, it's not important. It's
memes are life, gifts are life.
It's true.
That's all we can say. So that's how I know that my baby cousin's okay in this world, when I receive a meme from the other side of the pond.
Yeah, you know I'm about to go to bed when you receive 11 memes at once.
And it's fine because you texted me at 10 of like literally 3:52 a.m. I think. I was up.
Yeah.
And asked me why. I've been up for from 2:30 to 5:30 this morning for no reason. And Carrie's like getting her day going, like, oh, it's on Zoom tonight. I'm like, okay, I'm up. Here we go. Let's just do it now. So no, but I appreciate you taking the time, my little love bug.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And I'll see you soon.
I'll see you soon.